Today we're talking about a town that basically turned into the world's biggest unattended barbecue. Yes, this is the story of Centralia, Pennsylvania, the town that through a mix of bad luck, bureaucratic genius, and good old-fashioned human incompetence accidentally set itself on fire and then never stopped being on fire. Let's start with the question everyone asks. How do you accidentally light an entire town on fire and then fail to put it out? You let the local council handle it. Back in the early 60s, Centralia had a problem. The town dump was overflowing, so the townsfolk, being clever, responsible, community-minded individuals, decided, let's burn it. This plan would have been fine if the dump wasn't sitting on top of a massive abandoned coal mine. Imagine throwing a match into a pile of dynamite and thinking, yeah, that'll sort itself out. They lit the dump on fire, it burned for a bit, they sprayed water on it, high-fived each other, and went home. What they didn't realize is that the fire had quietly slipped underground and into the labyrinth of coal tunnels beneath the town. They weren't just burning rubbish anymore. They had just ignited an underground coal seam the size of a small country. At first, nobody noticed. Centralia had always been a mining town. The ground smelled like coal, the air smelled like coal, the breakfast probably smelled like coal. Nothing unusual. But then people started seeing steam and smoke rising from the ground, like the town was trying to cosplay as a volcano. Temperatures under the earth hit 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt metal, bake rock, or slow cook the occasional unfortunate groundhog. It wasn't subtle either. Backyards turned into literal smoke vents. The streets cracked open. Carbon monoxide crept into basements like a shy serial killer. And the authorities said, we'll look into it. They looked. They realized it was bad. Then they said, fuck it, and went home. Over the next 2 decades, the local government, state government, and federal government all tried to put out the fire. They threw dirt on it. They dug trenches. They pumped in slurry. They tried flushing it. They tried starving it of oxygen. Basically, they attempted every method short of turn it off and back on again. But coal seam fires don't care. They burn horizontally, vertically, diagonally, and in directions that physics still hasn't explained. By the 70s, Centralia was less a town and more a slowly baking death trap. The ground was cracking open. Trees were dying. Snow melted instantly. If you dropped a Hershey's bar on the ground, it would come back up as fondue. The moment that finally made everyone realize, okay, maybe the town being on fire is a problem, was 1981. A 12-year-old boy named Todd was playing in his backyard when the ground suddenly collapsed beneath him, opening a 150-foot deep, fire-belching sinkhole. He nearly got swallowed by the earth like he was in a low-budget remake of Dante's Inferno. Carbon monoxide blasted out of the hole like a dragon exhaling death.
Dracarys.
The kid survived because his cousin pulled him out. The government looked at this and said, right, evacuation time. The U.S. government bought out the town. Families were relocated. Houses were demolished. Whole streets were torn up. Centralia went from a population of 1,500 to less than 10. The ones who stayed basically said, we've lived here all our lives, and if the ground wants to kill us, it can get in line. The fire kept burning, still burns today, and is expected to burn for another 250 years, possibly centuries longer. Centralia became a ghost town. Roads collapsing, cemeteries sinking, signs warning visitors, danger, ground may open without warning. Fantastic tourism slogan. People always ask, if we can send people to the moon, why can't we put out one coal fire? Because the coal seam under Centralia is basically a maze spanning miles, and the fire crawls through it like a demon with all the time in the world. You can't flood it, the tunnels stretch too far underground. You can't cut it off, it burns around barriers. It's like trying to put out a fire that's playing 4D chess with you. The fire will stop when the coal runs out, which is estimated to be sometime around the year 2300. Good luck, future